welcome to Everything Bass. You know, I'm talking about a serious subject today, and you can tell by the title, is why most bass players give up and quit. And that is, it's a shame. It's something I hate to see because I think the bass is perfect for everybody, and I think everyone can play the bass. I have been playing bass coming close to 40 years now, and teaching all the way through that. I mean, started teaching private lessons just a couple of years after I started playing bass, which sounds weird saying, but it's how it worked out. And with social media and things like that, I get a chance to hook up and reconnect with previous students. And, you know, I'll always ask, hey, are you still playing bass? And man, it's always surprising and disappointing just because I know how much they loved it at the time that they'll say, oh, no, I stopped. And so I started asking questions to just kind of like do a survey of why did people stop playing bass when it seemed like something that they loved. I can't remember ever, and I've taught in excess of 1,000 private students over my career. I can't recall anyone being forced, you know, like the old thing about my mom's making me play piano and I don't want to play piano and this sucks. I think every time someone came to me, they were passionate about the bass. Now, let's start kind of unpacking this, and the reason I'm saying this is I want to give you an out from quitting. I want to give you an option. Like if you're thinking, yeah, I'm going to give up, and one of the things I'm talking about is something that you're dealing with, I want to show you maybe a way around that. So the first of all, why do people give up? They compare themselves too much. They compare themselves to other bass players. Now, surprisingly, it's usually not famous bass players. Again, multiple times students say, well, yeah, I wasn't as good. And I'm like, what do you mean wasn't as good? And so, oh, well, this guy in my town or this girl in my town is awesome. And every time I go and see him play, I just realize that they've got it and I don't. Well, that's BS. First of all, and this was great. My first, when I was a student at Musicians Institute, someone asked one of the teachers, like, who's a better bass player, and then gave two examples. And I love the answer that the bass instructor gave, and it kind of formed the way I approach the instrument, which is, so they said, you know, who's better between this bass player and this bass player? And the teacher said, well, what's the criteria of judgment? Height? Strong? You know, who's stronger? Who plays louder? I don't understand the question. And the student kind of stopped, and then that's the point, is like, you know, you can't say that one bass player is better than another bass player because there's no criteria. Now, you could say, like, I think this bass player is a better sight reader than the other bass player or something like that. And maybe that's quantifiable, but it's pointless because we're all different. I've met bass players who have very limited knowledge of music, a very limited technique, but have amazing sound and amazing groove and have achieved more in music than I have by far. And so, you know, but are they a better bass player than me? No, we're just different. So the out here is, first of all, stop comparing yourself to other bass players. This is a game that you're playing against yourself. You're not playing it against anyone else. Bass is not a competitive sport. Secondly, see value. Don't be jealous, envious, or angry about players around you that maybe are farther along in the journey or doing different things than you, and use it as fuel. Like, and not this fuel like, I will get vengeance on you. No, it's like, go, oh man, you know, that person's doing something I want to do. I'm going to hit the practice room harder, or I'm going to maybe ask them for lessons and things like that. So stop comparing yourself with anyone else. Just compare yourself to yourself and who you were the day before. And try not to go to bed unless you've made yourself a better bass player by the smallest amount. If like you're new to the instrument and you realize, well, I don't know if I've learned anything new on the bass today, and you're about ready to go to bed, figure out what that note is. If you don't know what that note is, the 11th fret on the G string, figure it out. And once you figure out that's F sharp, you're a better bass player. Boom. That's how easy it could be, just to keep growing. So a second reason why people have a tendency to give up on bass, and this is actually on any instrument, but specifically to bass, is not being able to get past a plateau or a rut, not being able to get out of a rut. And, you know, I think we're wired that we always want to see progress. And I think that's why video games are really have an element of addiction, because in the game, you're achieving, you're getting better. And sure enough, when that game gets so hard that you can't get past a certain level, you quit. Well, the same thing can be said about the bass. We might get to a spot and we're like, oh man, I'm not getting any better, I'm not getting better. And what baffles me is that people will use that as a reason to give up. It should be a reason to try harder. And now, what are some of the ways around that obstacle? Well, seek out a private lesson. And what's great about nowadays, you don't have to go in person. There's so many qualified and great teachers that can teach Zoom lessons or other ways online, Skype lessons, things like that, and they're just so valuable because now you can literally like get a lesson with them and say, here's what I'm struggling with, here's what I can't get past, and now you have to be open-minded. Sometimes what they teach and what I would teach you might not seem like it's directly addressing your plateau. You might be like working on something, saying, "Oh, I can't do this. I can't do this." I'm like, "Great, let's do this." You have to trust that there's a reason. Good instructors will know what's missing in your history. Filling in that blank will get you past that plateau. Also, sometimes the plateau is just boredom. You're not getting any better. There's nothing new elements in your playing, and that's kind of why I wanted to create this channel. Quite honestly, short videos that hopefully give you one little nudge into a new area, something that makes a bass new and fresh and exciting. Now, another reason why bass players quit is they wonder why are they investing all this time in it. And then here's the point, and this can be tricky because I could like upset some people, I guess, is I'll ask the person who gave up, say, well, did you ever get a chance to be in a band at all? And like, oh, no. I'm like, well, I would have quit. If I'm putting all this time in the instrument, but I'm not getting a chance to play musically with other people and take it to where it's supposed to be. We're not supposed to learn music just to sit by ourselves and play. Again, that's where I don't want to upset people because maybe that's all the joy you need. I've known a lot of piano players, they've never played a live gig in their life. They get joy from playing, but they're immune to that plateau of or that rut or that being wanting to quit because they're getting out of the instrument what they want, which is the ability to just freely express and play by themselves. That's fine. But if you find yourself just going, what's it all worth? Why am I working so hard? Why am I putting all this effort into it? I think that's your subconscious wanting to get out and do. It's like in science in high school, if all it was lecture and you never got to do a lab, you would never really get the joy of like, why did the teacher just talk about this when I could have, without me doing what it's about, I don't get experience. I don't get to see it and feel it, taste it. Well, not taste it because I could kill you in a science class. But so here's some ways out. Organize jams with friends, and that way you can pick who's invited. Because maybe you're not comfortable enough or confident enough to go into an open mic night or sit in with players that are many years ahead of you. But invite players over to your house and just and if your house can't have loud music or your apartment can't have loud music, ask an acoustic guitar player to come over and just jam. Be open-minded and say, hey, I want to just learn some of the songs you want to learn. Like, give me a heads up, and I'll try to learn bass line or something. If they're working on originals and you just want to say, hey, can I just jam with you? Whatever. But sometimes just getting a chance to play with other people and get that joy and feeling really can just make you feel like, wow, all right, now I want to get back into the practice room and work things out. So you can also, and this is depending on your own personal spiritual where you're at, but churches need bass players. I play in church, and there's so many times I'm not available, and it's a scramble to find someone to play bass. And so if you are, go to a church, or if you've been thinking about going to church but you're not sure, stop on by and if you like it, see if they could use a bass player. Because that's what's nice about that is everything's provided. The PA's provided, everything. You've got a band. The song selection's out of your hands, and the songs are pretty simple for the most part. Unless you're go to a gospel church, that music can be quite challenging. But contemporary Christian churches are the music's quite accessible, easy for bass players to play, and you get that feeling. A couple things you should hopefully get two feelings. One is like, wow, this is what all the practice has been for, to be able to play with the musicians and to play in front of an audience. But secondly, hopefully, and this is going to sound weird, I say hopefully, you'll see a limitation in yourself. You'll be given a song and you'll do something, you're like, why am I not doing this better? That is also the fuel to get back into the practice room. And now you have a target. If you don't have a target, you don't know where to aim. So if you're like, I need to be better at playing in 6/8 time. Boom, now you have something to work on in your practice room, and it's quantifiable. You can see if you're better because next time you go to play with the band, did you execute it better? So yeah, those are the big things, you know, comparisons to others, hitting plateaus, not playing with other musicians. Those could be reasons why we might just fall out of love with the bass. And that's a shame because I think, as I said in the beginning, I think everyone should be able to play bass. I think everyone should have fun playing bass. The best thing is get off your own back. You know, enjoy the process. Practice should be fun. Practice is not an obligation. It should be fun. And if you need help with that, just mention in the comments below. Hey, man, I'm struggling with practice time. Now, I will say, I can't say too much about it. It's not my product, but I was previously I was asked to beta test a new program that will help you get your music practice really dialed in. And I went through the beta program. I think it's genius. And when I legally can talk about it, I'm going to promote the heck out of it because I think it's great. And it's put together, even though it's meant for all instruments, it's put together by a bass player friend of mine who is brilliant and owns his own music school and all that. So when it's live, I will talk about it here. Okay, everyone, I hope this helped. Now, if I didn't cover the reason why you're thinking of quitting, don't quit. Just in the comment section, say, hey, man, I've been thinking about giving up because, and talk as much as you can to give us as much detail as you can of why you're thinking about giving up. And maybe I can help. And maybe, or not even just me, please, if you're a family member, look in the comments section below. Take a moment right now, look down, see if anyone's commented about why they're thinking about giving up. And if you can offer support and encouragement, please do. Don't be negative. This isn't a family of negativity. We encourage, we don't discourage, and we don't insult. So keep it all positive. Believe me, there's a lot of gigs. There's more gigs than bass players, and that's why we see guitar players taking our gigs, okay? All right, guys, I will see you at the next video. I am so honored to spend this time with you. Please like, share, subscribe, do all those things. But most of all, meet me at the next video. Thank you.